Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the start of a brand new season. We begin again here at Los Angeles, the Memorial Coliseum here in LA, for the third annual Clash at the Coliseum. Short track racing to kick off the season, a week away from a trip to Florida, and a chance to begin the season on a high note. Everyone gets to run through the paces and get ready to go here tonight. For everyone tuning in to ABN Esports One's coverage of the ARCS Midwest Barbecue A-Square Cup Series, I'm Carmen, Sienna. Thank you all so much for joining us here for what should be a very exciting, very fun, and energetic night of action up ahead of us here as we get ready to go. This event, specifically just 4 drivers that were drafted in the A-Square draft a couple weeks ago. We have 25 drivers present tonight to take part in tonight's event. And for those that have not experienced a race here at the Coliseum, it is pandemonium, to get to be pretty precise on that. And we're expecting it to be pretty chaotic again here tonight as well. It's all about having some fun before everyone gets down to business. Qualifying currently underway. We're seeing more and more drivers make themselves present in the session as we go along here. Everyone's got, I think, about 10 minutes. We're 6 minutes in to that qualifying session as everything gets ready to go here, including us, because this is our first time back in for the A-Square Cup Series in quite some time. So this is all certainly pretty good to be back, at least, I think. All things be told, it's going to be a very interesting season with everything coming up here. We'll pull up the tower here so you can get an idea as to where everyone's at in the time frames here. Pacey Wygent, third fastest at the moment. And it looks like a lot of those drivers done and dusted in qualifying. Brandon Proudfoot, Daniel Michelle, top of the board for them. Pacey Wygent, Kevin Feemster, Jonathan Adams, Josh Gaiman, Mark Dila, Connor Knowlton, Patrick Oberstadt. A lot of drivers in frame here tonight. Some new faces as well present for tonight's event. Walk through that here as time permits. Again, qualifying currently underway. Brandon Proudfoot, one of those drivers on track at the moment. You're seeing him run laps here. Let's get a TV camera angle. This is Brandon Proudfoot on track, currently the pole sitter for tonight's race. Again, running some laps here. Just a metal-inspired theme on that number 22 machine. Brandon Proudfoot running around here for some extra practice, really, going into tonight's event. And he will coast it to a stop here. Daniel Michelle also doing the exact same thing on his own. Daniel Michelle sitting again, front row starters. And both of them using the most time available here to try to get things started tonight. Very interesting to see how all that is really sort of played out here. Remember, Willie laps here. So we will get ready to jump into what will be a heat race festival here tonight. So let's get into it. Small little group for this heat race is Brandon Proudfoot, Jonathan Adams, Connor Knowlton, Bryn Roberts, Josh Garrison, Josh Battles, and Elrich George. You see drivers with the R beside their names? That means they're series rookies. Jonathan Adams, we've seen him very much in the HTL Cup Series and the HTL Truck Series over there Monday and Tuesday nights. Connor Knowlton, brand new to our screens, as well as Josh Battles. So there's going to be some new faces as we sort of ring our way through here. We'll kind of explain some of those changes going into this. But that's what we're looking at here tonight. As the field begins rolling. Everyone red bombing here to get things started. Get ready to go green here. Green flag in the air. The first heat race is underway. Let's get started. Brandon Proudfoot with a really good run. Again, small field to get things started for this heat race. Proudfoot will immediately get the advantage here. A little bit further back. Keep an eye on that. The traffic will be more important. Everyone needs to figure that out here as we move along. 44 of Garrison making his way forward ahead of the 84 of Bryn Roberts. So work being done immediately. Everyone's single file, getting through this. Again, smaller races here already. Looking at 9 laps to go. As everyone rolls through here. Little bit of work to do here. Some of these drivers trying to make some inroads tonight. 6 laps to go, going to 5 to go. Brandon Proudfoot's not pulled away from Connor Knowlton at all. Jonathan Adams sitting there in the 3rd position, just sitting comfy. This is the first time we've seen the new facelifted cars as well. We get to see them again tomorrow for the HTL Cup Series race at Watkins Glen. This is the first time we've seen the new facelifted cars on track. The new Toyota Camry and the new Ford Mustang, the Dark Horse edition Ford Mustang. Both those cars got facelifted. They're both going to perform and behave differently now, especially aerodynamically. Both those cars tuned to sort of maximize the aerodynamics that we've seen the Chevrolet have. There's the 2 of Connor Knowlton going around, and that's going to be a caution. First one of the night. A little bit of a checkup there ahead of Jonathan Adams. Connor Knowlton finds his way around in the wrong way. And we'll walk through, and here's what happened to Connor Knowlton. Tried to find his way around Brandon Proudfoot. Mustang on Toyota Camry. And the 8 of Jonathan Adams just kind of sent it right to the inside of the 2 and sees him spun all the way around. So the first caution of the night comes out there. Again, for those tuning in, this is the Midwest Barbecue A² Cup Series season opener as we get everything started. Presented by Qualitex Medical. Under caution for the first time tonight here in the LA Memorial Coliseum. Connor Knowlton from second down to fifth. Brendan Proudfoot now in the front row ahead of Jonathan Adams, Josh Garrison, Elvis George, Connor Knowlton, Josh Battles, and Bryn Roberts. Kicking off the heat racing here tonight. We'll see several of these heat races. As I mentioned, over 24 cars present, 7 in this heat. Believe we're going to be seeing, if numbers look right, we'll be seeing about 4 heats, and then we'll have a last chance qualifier and a consolation race, and then the main event. Green flag in the air. But turn into our first green-white checkered of the evening, and there's Jonathan Adams going from second to sixth in the wall on the outside. It allows Garrison to go through. Connor Knowlton goes back to second, provisionally, provided he can make it happen here through turns 1 and 2. He does. Brendan Proudfoot will make it look easy in Heat 1. Qualified first, he'll finish first. He finishes ahead of Knowlton, who gets right back to where he was before the caution. Garrison third, Josh Battles in fourth, ahead of Bryn Roberts, Jonathan Adams, and Elvis George. So now it's time to get ready to try this again. Second heat has 6 cars in it, and this is what it looks like on your screen. Daniel Michel, Josh Gaiman, Patrick Oberstadt in the top 3. Mike LaJoy, Ross Baxter, the only rookie in this 6-car heat, and David Wright round out the field. Again, everyone trying to get used to their new teams, including us up here in the booth. A lot of new faces, a lot of new teams. The draft obviously shaking things up pretty significantly going into this. 2 presidential racing cars were in that last heat. David Wright for Prophecy Motorsports in this group. We have Josh Gaiman for Gear Cats in this group. Going to be a lot of moving around here in this event as drivers, again, try to fill out this process. Josh Gaiman in the Toyota Camry. It's Toyotas and Chevrolets only in this heat. We saw a lot of Fords in the first heat. None of them in this heat. It's 4 Toyotas, 2 Chevrolets. The Chevrolets of Patrick Oberstadt and Mike LaJoy. The Toyotas of Michelle, Gaiman, David Wright, and Ross Baxter. As we get everything ready to go. Pace car pulls in. Green flag is out and away we go. Heat 2 underway. Oh, and immediately trouble. That is Mike LaJoy and Ross Baxter. They're further behind. And in trouble. This is what happened. Just a little bit further behind. Mike LaJoy in the 29. Ross Baxter in the 60. Just a little bit of trouble and a little bit of latency there on our end. LaJoy got turned around and tagged the 60 of Ross Baxter. So obviously not what he wanted to see here in this affair. Overlay wanting to not cooperate very well. I'll have to get that sorted out for you. To get everything started here, Josh Gaiman leads the way over Daniel Michel. Patrick Overstead, David Wright, Ross Baxter, and Mike LaJoy in trouble in the early stages here. They ended up behind the pace car. A little bit of work to do. They'll get their wave around here, and we will get ready to go. Showtime once more. Coming up here for heat number 2, it is Gaiman ahead of Daniel Michel. These two were strong battle adversaries last season. Both of them got us a couple of race wins each. Looking to make the mark even more so for Michel, his sophomore season in the ARCS A² Cup Series. For Josh Gaiman, his 3rd season in the ARCS A² Cup Series. Green flag in the air, and Gaiman got a really good launch out of that. Trouble. Overstead around one car. They keep it green for the moment. See if he can get back rolling. Gaiman and Michel, 1 and 2 at the moment. Toyota's 1st and 2nd, then Chevrolet all the way down in 5th and 6th. As Toyota's all the way through the top 4. You saw Overstead did get back rolling, but now in significant trouble. That 41 car needing someone else to have trouble to draw another caution out so we can have a chance in this one. Here comes Michel on Gaiman. Michel looks to the inside. Gaiman sees him coming. They'll make a little bit of contact. They stay side by side on the back straightaway. Michel once again sends it in, trying to work Gaiman off that bottom lane. He'll do so. Michel leads at the line. Gaiman a lot better there through 1 and 2 that time. But Michel's got the advantage and the braking zone. And he will get clear this time across the line. White flag is in the air and away we go. Gaiman got him loose. Got him loose, got him spun around. Josh Gaiman's going to end up taking heat 2 away from David Wright and Mike LaJoy. Daniel Michel will be in 5th place at the finish. Wow. So Josh Gaiman used a little bit of the chrome horn a little bit early here to get himself into contention. And that'll set us up for heat number 3 with Pacey Wygen in front ahead of Dale Markowski, Steven Oberstadt, Jacob Delgato, Jeremy Breo, and Richie Catania. Wygen and Delgado, the rookies in this group. There's 2 of them out of 6. Six cars getting ready to roll around here. Again, it's the 0, the 33, the 3, the 52, the 74, and the 24. Again, for those that are unfamiliar, this is the A² Clash at the Coliseum. This is exclusively for the drafted drivers, the members of the 9 teams in this series. When we enter the actual season, there will be independent drivers that were not drafted during the A² draft back 2 weeks ago on the 14th. They'll try to make their way in. Similar to how we see the the HTL Cup Series, where they have chartered rides and unchartered rides, you will see the 9 teams, 36 cars. They are locked in. It is who's fighting for the last 4 spots, beginning next Sunday. But this is all drivers that were drafted. These are all drivers on the 9 teams in the series. Green flag in the air. Really good start by Markowski over Wygant. But Wygant again with that inside lane, not enough to make something happen. Markowski caught Wygant sleeping on that start and took the race lead away. Breo and Oberstadt, 3rd and 4th. Then it's Delgado and Catania. Delgado in the 52 for Tombstone Motorsports. Oberstadt in the 3 for Carolina Beagle Racing. Jeremy Breo for Beatron Racing. Then it's Wygant and Markowski near the front of the field to get things started. And they are working on it. Top 3 have separated themselves just a little bit, just enough to begin this process. Caution's out for the first time. It was Delgado that was spun around. What happened to Delgado to cause another caution here? What happens to Delgado? And he just loops it on his own there. Tombstone Motorsports driver not making any significant inroads there. This is innocent loop on his own. No damage for any of the 6 cars. But caution out for the first time in heat race number 3. As work gets ready to go. Pull the tower back up. You can see with 5 laps to go. I have to refresh the overlay because it's still confusing that it's for the 2nd heat, and it's not. There we go. First caution of this heat. It's Wygant, Breo, Markowski, Oberstadt, Catania, Delgado. Remember, those with the R in parentheses around their names are rookies for 2024. Pacey Wygant coming in from the HTL competitions. Jacob Delgado coming in from OG Racing. So some different faces coming into the fold here in ARCS to kick off 2024. Again, this kicks off 2024's season for ARCS. Next Sunday on ABN 1 is qualifying for the ARCS Daytona 250 and the qualifying duels set up the starting grid for the race on February 18th. This is just the warm-up. Green flag in the air, 3 laps to go. Markowski shoulder to shoulder with Breo for 2nd. Wygant's got clear this time. Breo being leaned on there. Markowski couldn't really make anything happen there. Markowski, well versed in short track racing, part of the Saturday Night Showdown crew on Saturday nights. That series begins in a couple weeks' time. That'll be on ABN 2. Breo with 1 lap to go, trying to chase down Pacey Wygant. What will Pacey Wygant do? Can he get close to the 00? Not close enough. Wygant wins heat 3 over Breo, Markowski, Delgado, Oberstadt, and Catania. And Catania struggling just to try to get to the start-finish line, wanting to put this one behind him. Now we're over to the 4th heat of the night. So let's look at the starting grid. Kevin Feemster, Mark Dila on the front row. Tommy Withers, Tom Sears, Brian Rupert, and Michael Lawrence. The 6 cars in this heat. Lawrence the only rookie in this field for this heat race. They're going to get ready to go. Kevin Feemster getting his car rolling. Again, we're having issues with our little overlay package here. But we're getting everything sorted out here. There's Feemster, Dila, front row. Toyota for Feemster, Dila in the Chevrolet in second place, that number 80 machine. Then you have Tom Sears, Tommy Withers, Brian Rupert, and Michael Lawrence. Michael Lawrence, the GearCats driver, one of their rookies for this season. There's 2 rookies on GearCats. Lily Peltier Sharp will make her debut in the A-Square Cup Series next week for Daytona 250 qualifying. Again, 36 drivers were put into these 9 different teams. The expansion from what it was last season when it was 7 teams. So it's going to be even more battling throughout the season here. Green flag in the air. Dila tried to get a really good launch like what Markowski did in Heat 3. Feemster stayed right there with him, though. A driver that is struggling a little bit, Tom Sears in the outside lane. Got passed by Withers. In trouble, under pressure for Brian Rupert now as well. All 3 manufacturers represented, 4 Toyotas, 1 Ford, 1 Chevrolet. And it's one of the Toyotas leading the way now over Mark Dila. Kevin Feemster trying to lead the way. Feemster working on this heat race if he can hold on to it. As things currently stand, things looking good. Things looking pretty clean right now. Looking a little further back, Brian Rupert, as I said that, goes for a self spin there. Will now end up in 6th behind Michael Lawrence, who's trying to pressure Tom Sears. Pair of Toyotas there. Really 3 of them, because Withers in that Toyota as well. Caution's out. And the caution's out for Brian Rupert, who was spun again on the back straightaway near the apex of turns 3 and 4. So Rupert in trouble. And we'll go a lap down here. So with a few laps to go, Feemster will have to do it again versus Mark Dila. Again, for everyone tuning in, this is the 2024 ARCS A² Clash, presented by Qualitex Medical. Where everyone's enjoying their time here tonight. A lot of work over the offseason has led to this for the teams and the drivers of the ARCS A² Cup Series. Under caution for the first time in Heat 4. We've only really had 1 caution per heat going through this. And it was for a self-spin by Brian Rupert, who was trying to stay out of the way, but unfortunately couldn't, and will end up a lap down here. Coverage of the A² Cup Series season presented by Qualitex Medical for this event, but also by Midwest Barbecue and Smeel Racing Designs. You'll see the ARCS A² Cup Series on both our networks throughout the season. Kevin Feemster leads us to green once again with 2 laps to go. Whoa, Mark Dila sent it in hard and end up in the outside wall. He'll go from 2nd to 5th. Kevin Feemster, and there's trouble behind. Caution's out. Dila and Rupert. 2nd caution of the night. And that puts Feemster right back in it. And this is what ended up causing the caution. I want to go a little further back and see what happened. You see what happened with Dila. Just sent it there really wide. Michael Lawrence kind of just tagged Dila and put him further in the wall. And then Dila and Rupert got together there. And Rupert just kind of finished off Dila and to cause that caution. So now we have a green white checkered in this heat. So 5 cars on lead lap. Once again, Brian Rupert cannot get the free pass because he was involved in the caution. There is a free pass rule in effect where if you are the first car lap down and a caution comes out, as long as you're not involved in the caution in any way, you can get your lap back. Rupert was the cause of the first caution in this heat and was involved in the second one. So he will stay a lap down in this heat. To explain the rules, it's a little bit different depending on what organization is running the events. In ARCS, it is universal. You have 3 green white checkers at your disposal. If we see a caution before the white flag on that final green white checkered, the race is over. It's a different process in ARCS compared to what it is in Winstel and what it is in HTL and what it is in ABN. All right, pretty straightforward. You've got 3 attempts. This is the first attempt at a green white checkered finish in Heat 4. Again, in order for this race to end under green, the white flag has to be displayed. It was not displayed for this heat, so we're under a second caution of the night. So all 6 cars still rolling. Brian Rupert kind of just hoping that there's a caution between one of these 5 that don't involve him so he can get a lap back and try to be in it for the next restart. If you're Feemster or Withers, you're kind of hoping that there's not another caution here. Ooh, Withers with a really bad jump there. Feemster ended up getting the advantage out of that because Withers backed out of it completely. But that could have been bad. Feemster gets clear of it. Withers gets down and shuts the door on Tom Sears. White flag in the air this time. This is official. Withers, Lawrence, Sears, Toyotas 1 through 4. And it will be Kevin Feemster out of 4 to win Heat 4. Withers second, Lawrence third, Tom Sears in 4th. Ahead of Mark Dila and Brian Rupert. And now we have the consolation race. These are the drivers that did not make it into the main event. Josh Garrison, Dale Markowski, Josh Battles, and Jacob Delgato in row 2. Bren Robertson, Stephen Oberstadt, row 3. Jonathan Adams and Rich Catania, row 4. 3 rookies in these 8 cars. Let's see what they can do here. Again, it's Garrison and Markowski, front of the field. Then Battles and Delgado, Roberts, Oberstadt, Adams, and Catania. Green flag will be in the air. 2 laps of formation per usual around this very small, I think almost a third of a mile flat oval. Short ovals typically have 2 formation laps to get tires up at the temperature a little bit. Typically you only see 1 at tracks over I think a mile in length. Eight-car field. This is the largest field we've seen so far tonight. Just a gradual build to what will be the main event in this evening. If everyone tuning in, I appreciate you spending your time with us here on ABN Esports 1. Green flag is in the air. The consolation race is underway. Markowski really got jump start there, but couldn't really make it stick there against Josh Garrison. Garrison Markowski battles in third. Battles making his way forward for Black Acid Racing. Shuts the door, had to be very tidy and tiptoeing that time through. Saw two cars in his mirror, the 52 of Delgado and the 84 of Bryn Roberts. Laps underway here. And this is a longer race. Coming to 22 to go, we had 25 laps in this consolation. Josh Battles still defending from Bryn Roberts for that third spot. Markowski in second, but then is a giant breakaway to Josh Garrison leading this race. Over a second and a half between Garrison and Markowski. Here comes the 71 of Battles, the 84 of Roberts, the 52 of Delgado, then Adams, Catania, and Oberstadt. All in this mix. And it's spread out a little bit. Everyone's minding their P's and Q's. Everyone's at this point had some miles under their belt here at this track. Everyone sort of just thinning it out. There's Adams in the 8. Trying to use a little bit of that bumper on the 52 of Delgado. A lot's changed there for Delgado as well. That team was Sunday Money Racing in the draft just 2 weeks ago. How much things changed. That team is now an extension of Tombstone Motorsports. As Catania almost goes around, and now it's the Battle Stephen Oberstadt there. I'm surprised Oberstadt's struggling the way he is. Oberstadt runs the short track series program in ARCS and has done so for a little over a year now. So I would expect that Oberstadt would be a little bit higher up, but these cars are difficult and they have changed a lot. I talked about the facelift. They have changed a decent amount in terms of how they handle. So everyone's still learning a lot here, and this will be very helpful when you come to tracks like Martinsville and the flatter tracks like New Hampshire as well. Learning what you're going to need out of the cars, just technically speaking, with the brake balance, where the brake bias needs to be. Again, shaking off that winter rust. Garrison leads the way by 2.9 seconds over Markowski, who is out of battle here. Behind him with Josh Battles and Bryn Roberts, the rookie, battling the 4-time A-Square Cup Series race winner. And Roberts made his move and made it precisely. Third place goes Roberts over Battles. Delgado in 5th. With 11 laps to go, coming to 10 to go. As I was mentioning there a little bit ago, this team's changed a lot. It's the extension of the Tombstone Motorsports, a team we see in the HTL Cup Series and on a part-time basis in the ABN Champ Car World Series. So Tombstone expanding its horizons a little bit of a bump draft there by Jonathan Adams, representing the Carolina Hurricanes in the number 8 machine. Delgado in the 5th spot, trying to hold on to it. Garrison, Markowski, Roberts, Battles, Delgado. Then you have Adams. Adams still battling there, got around Delgado there. Oberstadt and Catania still battling side by side. Just sort of having fun with it at this point. Driving everybody a lot of fun out front. Josh Garrison with 5 laps to go. Doing an outstanding job right now at the moment as things stand. For everyone tuning in, we appreciate you spending your time with us here on ABN 1 for the ARCS A² Coliseum Clash presented by Qualitex Medical. Garrison about to put Oberstadt a lap down here. We'll see how much he holds up here for Oberstadt with 3 laps to go and 4 seconds in pocket. Markowski's falling back now under pressure from Bryn Roberts. It's Chevrolet leading the way, but then it's a sea of Ford Mustangs. And for a car that just recently got facelifted, Ford has not looked good to kick off this season. There's 8 cars in this field. 5 of them are all the Ford Mustang, the dark horse, facelifted Ford Mustangs. Not many of them made it in to the main event. White flag is in the air, waiting to see if Roberts can make a move on Markowski. It doesn't look like that'll be the case. Josh Garrison will come to the checkered flag. He will win the consolation. Markowski will hold on to second ahead of Brent Roberts. Jonathan Adams finishing 4th ahead of Josh Battles and Jacob Delgado. Richie Catania ends up finishing on the lead lap in the 7th position. Another consolation race coming up here. Our last chance qualifiers continuing here on ABN1, the ARCS A2 Coliseum Clash. It's Mike LaJoy, Michael Lawrence at the front of the field, a couple more rookies in this group. Ross Baxter, Tom Sears, Daniel Michelle, Mark Dila, Patrick Oberstadt, Brian Rupert, and Elrich George all running in this heat. 9 cars, again, expanding on the group. Pressure overlay here. Another 25 lap race coming up here. Races have increased with distance. It was 12 laps in the heats. Consolations have expanded from there. As we get ready to go. We get 9 teams in this field. You have some of the mainstays. You have Presidential Racing. You have Prophecy Motorsports, Black Acid Racing, Lion Power Motorsports. But then there's some new teams that have come in. You have Next Gen Racing. You have Tombstone Motorsports that just came in. Gear Cats just came in. Carolina Beagle's an official team now. Mix of the present and the future all combining here. 9 cars see the green flag for the second last chance qualifier. Michael Lawrence being swarmed at the moment. He's been passed by Baxter. Getting passed by Michelle as well. Tom Sears in this battle as well. Tries to send it on that other Toyota. This is where we see more of the Toyotas in the field. 2 Fords still in this field. Still a lot of Fords. But 4, and there's trouble. Further back. Trouble, and it's Dila, and it is the 40 of Elrich George, and Dila's stuck. Having the 5-point turn it almost to get things rolling again. Everyone checking up there for Dila, not putting him a lap down. You're not going to see that kind of friendly attitude once the season begins and points become on the line. But let's look into what happened here. First caution of the last chance qualifiers. Last race went completely caution free. And this is just, once again, trouble between the 1 and the 80. We saw that when they raced together in their heat. And then Elrich George just ran him right over. And for Mark Dila, it is bad to worse. Unfortunately, Mark Dila not sharing the same luck in that 80 car that Christina Ryan has over the last week or so. Dila will get free pass here. Will get the wave around, I should say. He is technically on the verge of going a lap down. go back racing here. It is Mike LaJoy and Ross Baxter at the front of the field. Baxter in the 60. Mike LaJoy in the 29. Sponsored by Garrison's. Green flag in the air, and away we go. Garrison got a really good launch. So did Daniel Michel. Baxter did not get such a good launch. So away we go. Baxter representing his team, the West Virginia Mountaineers. Tom Sears up to 4th ahead of Michael Lawrence. A little bit checkup for the behind between Rupert and Patrick Overstadt. The 1 and the 41, and there goes Brian Rupert to the inside of Michael Lawrence. Whoa, almost trouble there. Between the 1 and the 47, Rupert overdrives it and immediately gives up the position, and there they go. Oh, it's trouble, and that is Daniel Michel that goes for a ride. And we have our second caution of the night. And now the trouble begins. Second caution after the first last chance qualifier went completely caution free. So let's look at this one. Daniel Michel goes for a wild ride here. 25 Michel had gotten around the 29 of Mike LaJoy for the lead, and just loses on his own and then gets helped out by both Baxter and LaJoy. But that starts on his own, similar to how it was in the first heat race, when we looked like he got turned around by Gaiman. Gaiman said no, he didn't touch him. Similar circumstance there tonight with Daniel Michel. Seems like he's having a lot of trouble putting the power down here at the Coliseum. Here we go. He had a fun night. Preseason underway. Green flag back in the air. A really good launch by LaJoy. Sears followed suit. Baxter once again asleep on that restart. Oh, keep an eye on that. Bumping around between Lawrence and Rupert. 1 in the 41 now. Oberstadt and Rupert once again side by side. Patrick Oberstadt in the 41. Brian Rupert in the 1. Here we go. Look to the inside. There's the more wounded Mark Dila in the 80 machine. That front end's all caved in. Coming to 5 laps to go. Tom Sears applying pressure to Mike LaJoy. Top 6 make it into the main event. So if you're in the top 4, you're not doing too bad right now. The pressure's all on 5th and 6th. Brian Rupert, Daniel Michel, Patrick Oberstadt, and Mark Dila. And Owens George, who is sitting a little bit further adrift in that number 40 machine. The war of attrition begins. 3 laps to go. LaJoy and Sears, again, still trying to just holding their line at the moment. Caution's out, and that's why 3 cars involved. Dila, Oberstadt, and Lawrence. And Lawrence will, like we saw with Dila before, be stuck behind the pace car, but not go a lap down. So let's cause the third caution of this last chance qualifier and put us into a green white checkered attempt. This is Lawrence. Does he wheel hop it here? Oh, he 100% does. He spins it around, and he's not alone in that. Oberstadt and Dila tried to squeeze through the same space, and none of it worked. Unfortunately, Lawrence couldn't drop it in gear enough to do what Oberstadt and Dila did, where they could just do a little burnout and get themselves going. Lawrence had the 3-point turn it. So we're sitting now on green-white checkered territory. Lawrence will get his lap back, so he'll be back on lead lap and with everybody else. And we will get ready to go. Again, it's been a frantic run so far. LaJoie leads Sears, Baxter, Michelle, and Rupert to get top 6, make it into the main event in this last chance qualifier. Pace car pulls in. It is LaJoie and Sears, and LaJoie once again torches the field in the restart. Baxter still not able to really capitalize on it. Sears to his outside, trying to hold on to it. There's the damaged heavy. There's the 25 of Michelle. White flag in the air. We're on the last lap. LaJoie looking to win the last chance qualifier. It's all about that final spot. LaJoie wins. Spinning at the line, Albert George makes it in behind Mark Dilo. Lawrence, Oberstadt, and Rupert miss out. And that's a wild time. Mike LaJoie, Tom Sears, Daniel Michelle, Ross Baxter, and Elrich George make the field. Crazy, crazy stuff. And now we get ready for what everyone's been waiting for, the main event of the evening, the feature race here at the LA Memorial Coliseum, the 2024 ARCS A² Coliseum Clash presented by Qualitex Medical. You see the cars getting on track and beginning to run here. No pit stops in this race. We've not had pit stops at all in the lead up to this. There's no genuine pit lane. We're in warm-up now. So now everyone gets to be on track for the first time with this giant cluster of cars. From above the broadcast booth here at the Coliseum. And for everyone tuning in, we appreciate you tuning in to ABN1 for coverage at the start of the ARCS A² Cup Series season. You'll see the ARCS A² Cup Series on both ABN1 and ABN2 throughout the 2024 season. pretty decent sized field here for this main event, which is going to be 75 laps. Longest race of the night. We had consolation races that were 25 laps. The heats themselves were 12 laps. And Connor Knowlton once again gets turned around by the 52. Looks like we've built up a 14-car field for this, from what I'm seeing here. 14 drivers have taken to the track. Largest field of the night coming up. And with time elapsing here in warm-up, about 2 minutes and change to go. Our timer has slowed down just a little bit in this process. As we continue to watch practice get underway. Get ready to get things rolling once again here in LA. Everyone having trouble there in turn 4. Overlay struggling just a little bit here in the final warm-up here. Checkered flag is out at the end of this 5-minute session, so it is almost time to get back to racing here tonight. So let's get down to business. This is the main event of the ARCS A² Coliseum Clash, presented by Qualidex Medical. Brandon Proudfoot, Josh Gaiman, front of the field to kick things off. This is a 20-car field. Pacey Wygen, Kevin Feemster, row 2. Row 3, Connor Knowlton and David Wright. Row 4, Jeremy Breo and Tommy Withers. Then it's Garrison and LaJoy, row 5. Dale Markowski and Tom Sears make up the top 12. And looking down this order a little bit further down, you have Brendan Roberts, Daniel Michelle, Ross Baxter, Jonathan Adams, Josh Battles, Mark Dila, Jacob Delgado, and Irish George. Largest field of the night coming up. This will be a fun time. Most cars are seen on track at any single point tonight. Let's get started here. Getting ready for the main event of the evening. Green flag is in the air and away we go. Already a little bit of tire smoke there. Lock up there by the 2 of Knowlton. 6 rookies in this field, including Wydron and Knowlton, the 00 and the 2. A little bit of contact. That is, wow, that is Breo and David Wright. Already putting elbows out. Ooh, a little bit of lockup there by Josh Garrison, a little bit further behind. That's 8th place, Josh Garrison. Withers in 9th, Markowski in 10th. Roberts, Adams, LaJoy, Sears, Michelle, Baxter, Battles, Delgado, Dila, and George, your top 20. Caution's out, and it is for Feemster. Feemster just trying to get turned back around in the right direction. Will do so, but will lose more spots in the process down the 18th place, it looks like. See how many spots he's able to recover here. Brandon Proudfoot at the front of the field. Let's look at what happened to cause this incident. First caution of the night on lap 5. Is he helped along here? Is this a self-spin? It looks like it might be a self-spin. He's closer to the Gaiman than what Wydron is to him. Oh yeah, 100% a self-spin there. Just way too greedy on the throttle. And to his credit, make sure he gets out of the way there. Does not get hit by anybody else. No damage by anybody else. Relatively a very low damage event there. So once again, Proudfoot and Gaiman at the front of the field, followed by Wydron and Knowlton. And 3 of these names should, for ABN fans, should be extremely familiar. All 3 of these names present in the HTL competitions Monday, Tuesday, and Friday evenings. We get to see them again now battle on Sunday evenings as well. Again, it's the debut of the facelifted Toyota Camry, the ZSE facelift, and the Ford Mustang Dark Horse model present. The only car that did not get changed in these facelifts is the Chevy Camaro ZL1. And we see all of them in the top 3. The 00 of Wydron in the Chevy Camaro, Proudfoot and the Mustang, Gaiman and Toyota. Green flag in the air. Proudfoot got a really good launch there. Knowlton crowds up to the outside lane, but could lose a spot to Wydron if things continue as they are. Green flag running, and caution out immediately. And this one looks like it is... Could it be Feemster and George once again? We'll see what happens here. This is on the restart. Oh yeah, definitely a little bit of a checkup there that no one really prepared for. And it really goes to Michelle on that. Let's get a better angle of that from Michelle on this restart. Michelle in the 25. Again, everyone checks up. Josh Battles clips the 25 because he gets hit, and everyone else has to come to a stop as well. So a bit of a log jam there in turns 3 and 4. Fits under our second caution of the night in quick succession, with Proudfoot and Gaiman still at the front of the field. Then Knowlton and Wydron 3rd and 4th. They swap places on that restart. Breo and David Wright will be in row 3 again. Keep an eye on that row 3 if they have a chance to really breathe under a green flag run. That could be interesting to watch. Garrison and Withers, Brendan Roberts, and Dale Markowski in the top 10. Again, for everyone tuning in to ABN Esports 1, I'm Carmen Sienna. We appreciate you spending your time with us here on ABN, spending your Sunday evening. Championship weekend. Appreciate you spending your time with us here. Lights out on the pace car, which means we're getting ready to go back to green. And it will be Brandon Proudfoot's control over Josh Gaiman on this restart, and away we go. Gaiman a way better restart that time. Front four all got a really good start on it. Does it stick? Oh, a little bit of contact there. Knowlton locks up the tires a lot. And cautions out again. And it's Ross Baxter turned around. And this is where you start seeing the effects of having 20 cars on a track less than 4/10 of a mile long. And Ross Baxter ended up the wrong way around. Let's see why. Baxter in the 60, that West Virginia Mountaineers. Blue, yellow, and white machine. And it really starts up ahead of him because it starts because Mike LaJoy gets turned. And it's that Baxter ends up stuck backwards. Whereas everyone else can kind of get back going in the right direction. And again, this is very useful for some of these drivers going through this season. This is a car that is notoriously aggravating for drivers to run on short ovals like this. Tracks like this, like Martinsville. New Hampshire is another track that people find very difficult as well in these cars. These flatter, shorter ovals that require a lot of braking attention. So drivers learning a lot what to do and what not to do. Obviously, this is the shortest track on the calendar by far. Martinsville is over half a mile long. New Hampshire is a little over a mile long. But drivers learning the aggravation early. And it could be interesting watching some of this spill over into Daytona for qualifying in the duels next week. Green flag in the air. Proudfoot with another really good launch. He got ahead of Josh Gaiman. Connor Knowlton there trying to battle for the second spot. We get a full lap under green here. But it is not clean. Feemster and Garrison in trouble further behind. And they're struggling in this pack. Feemster sends it to the inside of Josh Battles. Did not work out there. A lot of lockup. You see the smoke. And that's trouble, and that is significant trouble, and that is bodywork gone on a couple of cars. Make that a fourth quick caution here at the Coliseum. Let's watch through this. This starts a little ahead. A little bit of a hip check there by Dila and by Baxter. Dila gets turned by Baxter there, and it checks up the field. 52 gets clobbered by the 21 of Feemster. Baxter gets turned even further. Jonathan Adams gets collected in that. It is a mess at the Coliseum early. And this is a mess that will sort of compound things a little bit as this race goes along and progresses. These cars, on top of being very aggravating the race on these short ovals, are a lot more robust than what we saw in previous generations. The 6th gen, the 5th gen, the 4th gen. These cars are a lot more robust. They can take harder hits as long as they're flush. So the suspension pieces are a little bit weaker, but if you hit body panels like the rear body panel, the front body panel, you can get away with quite a lot of damage. So in some ways they are quite resilient, in other ways they're a little bit weaker. But we're seeing a lot of that resiliency on display right now because these are lower speed incidents. These are not high speed crashes by any stretch of the imagination. These drivers are not really even touching. I think the fastest somebody's touched so far going into this, I think they've gotten to maybe 80 miles an hour. They're not going super quick here at the Coliseum. These are cars capable of going to 190, 195 miles an hour at points. We'll see a lot of that on display next week. .670 horsepower machines. They're not easy to drive by any stretch of the imagination. As we get ready for another restart, the 4th restart of the main event. It is Proudfoot, Knowlton, Gaiman, and Breo, top 4. Wygen and David Wright, top 6. Green flag in the air, and Knowlton had nothing for it, and he's going to get turned immediately. And there's caution number 5. And that is a logjam, a lot of good cars in this one. David Wright, Bren Roberts, it is a complete traffic jam here in LA. Knowlton tried shooting the gap and closing the door on Josh Gaiman, and it didn't stick. A trick you typically only see at places like Bowman Gray. We just saw in LA. And that starts early. We'll go back and look at it, because that is rough. This is coming to the restart, and this is, again, Connor Knowlton just trying to shoot a gap that just isn't open all the way. Because once again, Brandon probably just cooks him. Just isn't completely clear on that. Breo gets turned on that, so does David Wright, so does Bren Roberts, and everyone else just has to try to wait for the hole to open so they can try to make some inroads here to get around. And again, it's not easy in these cars. But Connor Knowlton made a huge mistake there, and he paid for it dearly. Now down in the 18th position. Struggling significantly, there's Brandon Proudfoot, who will lead this race over Josh Gaiman. They're going to have to do a wave around for all the cars involved in that incident, stuck behind the pace car. So it's Proudfoot, Gaiman, Withers, Sears, Michelle, and Breo, top 6. Markowski, Baxter, Dila, and Feenstra, top 10. Green flag in the air, and away we go. Another really good Brandon Proudfoot launch. Gaiman just did the exact same thing that Knowlton just did. Only Gaiman saved it. But down the field order he goes from 2nd to 7th. Withers had his nose in there. And now Proudfoot has to deal with Toyotas all over him once again, but they're battling amongst themselves. Withers and Sears battling for 2nd. Then it's Michelle, Breo, Markowski, Gaiman down in 7th, Baxter, Dila, and Feenstra top 10 as they were at the start. Sears to 2nd place. Over Withers, over Breo and Michelle. Whoa, Sears goes for a loop. And that's going to be trouble, and that's going to be a caution. That is Markowski involved, that is Dila involved, and everyone else trying to just get around the madness. 6th yellow of the night. Pandemonium all the way through. And Tom Sears rolling down pit lane here. Looks like he might have some damage to come down and try to get things taken care of. I think he slowly kind of realized that not a whole lot he can get done there. There's not a pit crew in the infield to take care of all this stuff. It's a special place, the LA Coliseum. Typically hosts outdoor football games and sporting events. Temporary asphalt laid over a dirt and sand compound. See a little gate off to the left-hand side. That's where cars go in and out for service in between sessions. However, you can't really do anything about that during a session. You can't do anything about that, especially during the main event. Getting set for another restart, the 6th one of this main event. Proudfoot's led every single one of them. It's Proudfoot, then Withers in the front row, then it's Breo, Michelle, Gaiman, Baxter, Feimster, Adams, LaJoy, Battles, top 10. Pace car is in. From high above the broadcast booth, here we go. Proudfoot, another really good start. Breo sort of timed that in pretty well with him. Withers doing the best he can to try to take on former series champion Jeremy Breo. Breo takes second with ease. Cautions out again though, and that is why checkup turns 3 and 4. Wygant, Battles, and Garrison. Well, Garrison has the tow. And this could be mission over for Battles, who stalled out his car. Oh, and that is huge trouble for Wygant and Garrison. And again, we'll look at that again. Again, this is a really good angle from high above. Wygant the 00, Garrison the 44. Knowlton just kind of sends Garrison a little bit, and Garrison overcorrects it, and Battle's nowhere for him to go. Everyone else does a really good job of sweeping to the inside lane. And that's silly from Wygant, because Wygant needs to hold the brakes and let everyone go through, because he just tagged another car. Wygant should know better on that one. He's not a rookie in these types of situations. He's been in this car before. He races in HTL. He should know better than to roll back in front of traffic. Obviously, this is not a points event, so you can get away with making rookie mistakes, but that's something you've got to get out of your system quickly. We've approached the 2/3 mark in this race. We'll be going green with 26 laps to go. Coming to green flag for the 7th restart of the night. Away we go. Another really good restart there by Proudfoot. He's been lightning quick on all these restarts so far. Ross Baxter, however, has not been, and he will lose several positions on the fly here. Michelle gets around Withers with 25 laps to go. Oh, here we go. That's close. Again, Withers trying to hold on and really battle both Michelle and Josh Gaiman, who's bookending his position in the top 5 at the moment. Proudfoot has a lead over Breo and Michelle. Breo trying to close in on Proudfoot. Breo, part of Beach Fun Racing. Brandon Proudfoot, part of Tombstone Motorsports. Oh, and Breo just lost all of the time he had, and it doesn't matter because the caution's out for the 8th time tonight. For Mike LaJoy, who is still stuck stationary. So let's look into what happened with Mike LaJoy here. Single car spin for Mike LaJoy going into this. Was there help? Markowski's right there, and there's a little bit of help by Markowski. And of course, and this is LaJoy doing the right thing, not pulling up in front of traffic, just having to let everyone go by. It's a case of from bad to worse you go. LaJoy will try to get a wave around to try to get back one of those laps. But LaJoy struggling big time here. He's one lap down at the moment. Avoiding going 2 laps down. It'll be Proudfoot and Breo. And Breo, talk about a bailout there. Almost lost a lot of time there. Almost spun it. Ends up being able to get it back. And now we'll have another chance to make things happen. It is Proudfoot, Breo, Michelle, Withers, Gaiman, Feemster, Knowlton, Baxter, Sears, and Wygent top 10. Green flag in the air and away we go. Oh, and Breo almost got turned by Michelle. They somehow kept it pointing in the right direction, and away we go once again. But Breo's not going to be happy about that one. Feemster's made his way back to the top 10. Breo dealing with the rookie Connor Knowlton. Knowlton trying to get clear for the 4th position. He does. Feemster in trouble. Only one car involved at the moment, staying off the main surface. What a bad run for Feemster. was in the top 10 as well. Michelle in second place. Gaiman in third. Knowlton fourth. Breo fifth. And the yellow's out one more time. And we're not entirely sure as to why. Oh, there's a car stuck on the back straightaway there. I'm trying to figure who that is. That might have been Tom. Oh, it was Tom Sears, and that is silly. That is very, very silly. Let's go back and look at that. 9th caution of the night. And this is, for a driver of Sears' caliber, this is completely silly. He goes around on his own. No one touches him. That was Bryn Roberts behind him. Just absolutely silly. Just absolutely clobbers Feemster and ends Feemster's race completely on the spot. Ninth caution of the night, and a completely avoidable circumstance. Again, there's a lot of winter rust on some of these drivers, but you cannot be making those types of rookie mistakes. Next week's going to be very crucial to get right. Get ready to go back green here. Green flag in the air, and away we go. 9th restart of the night with 5 laps to go. And back to back, another caution. And it's another log jam. We'll have a green white checkered here. So caution out once again. And that's not Kevin Feemster's issue. I don't believe so. Unless Feemster's involved in this. Oh, the caution's out immediately because there's Markowski. This is on the restart. And this is going to look really bad. Early on. No one wanting to check up and give a little bit here because of how close it is to the end of the race. Markowski gets turned. There's the 52 of Jacob Delgado. The 33 of Dale Markowski. There's the 40-hour George, Josh Garrison. And here's what happened on the restart before, for those that missed it. This is one of the more egregious cautions of the night. This is just Tom Sears. Going for a loop. And this in itself, okay, not the worst thing in the world. Caution's out at this point. You see the lights on the truck out. And he turns in and just completely clobbers Kevin Feemster. That was what led up to this. A lot of the cars that were involved in that last caution, the 10th one of the night, now rolling again. And again, this is a preseason race, but there's nothing on the line. But it is something that drivers need to be mindful of, because we're going to have over 50 cars attempt to qualify for 40 spots in 7 days' time at Daytona. These lapses of judgments, 100%, are red flags right now for some of these drivers, some of these teams. You gotta be mindful of it. So we will see another restart here. We are in green, white checker territory. So here we go. Pace car is in, as it was at the beginning. It's Proudfoot and Game in front of the field. Green in the air. Do we see the white flag on this attempt? Proudfoot with the clear space. White flag is in the air. This is official. Can anyone stop Brandon Proudfoot? Answer that question, maybe no. Brandon Proudfoot wins the Coliseum Clash over Josh Gaiman. Jeremy Breo takes third. But they're all backwards, and they're going to crash across the line. Breo got third from Daniel Michel. Pacey Wygen rounding out the top 5. And that will do it. Brandon Proudfoot, winner in LA. Proudfoot gets the season started with the win. And now it's time to get down to business in 7 days when qualifying for the ARCS Daytona 250 gets underway. He's going to burn that car all the way down. That dark horse, we talked about them not making a lot of advancements. A lot of those Fords did not make the field. But one of the few that did won the race. It's a big deal. Very big ordeal there. Brandon Proudfoot, winner tonight of the Coliseum Clash. We'll hear from him and the rest of the podium here very shortly. But a phenomenal job by Brandon Proudfoot to take the first win of the season. See if we can talk to our podium finishers here tonight after a wild turn of events. We'll go top to bottom, first, second, and third. Let's see who we have to say from Brandon Proudfoot here. Brandon, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Alrighty, that was a chaotic way of going about it, but it's a win to kick off the season for A Squared. New team. First time we've seen some drivers run this track. Walk us through it on your end. Nothing feels quite like a win to kick off the season, even though it was as predictably messy as it could be.
A lot of patience, and even though with the amount of cautions you had, even as the leader, you got to keep your eyes open. We're doing, I don't know what second lap times, I think 15 second lap times, I don't even remember. that time goes way quick. A lot of the guys here are used to 40, 50-second lap times. This is a little bit more my wheelhouse. I'm used to the 15 to 20-second bracket running dirt. And so that time skip of being able to kick lap after lap is definitely a little bit more familiar to me, but still got to keep your eyes open.
Obviously, it's a good way to kick off the start of the season. You are now firmly in, it's fully in race prep mode and season prep mode. While you still have a season ongoing on Monday nights, we get to see you at Watkins Glen tomorrow night in the HTL Cup Series. It's a brand new campaign. And I have to get to juggle both campaigns here going on. You get to juggle the start of a season. You get to go to Daytona next week, on top of having to juggle road courses and intermediates that are not the same. How has that process been for you so far? And how are you expecting to sort of carry the momentum you've just built here to go into the the next week, the next couple weeks?
It definitely helps that it is the same exact car. And it's not like we're going from granted, there are some people over in the ARCS community to where like some of them run SNS or go to the trucks and then go back to the cup car. For me, minus doing my setup work for my Detour series over in the ARCS community, I'm just doing cup car. So a lot of the stuff, this track, a little bit of an anomaly, does transfer over because at the end of the day, seat time is seat time. It helps if it's in the same car or truck for that matter. But at the end of the day, seat time is seat time.
Well, it worked out here. You got a win. I believe this is your first time participating in the ARCS Ace for a Clash. You get a win in your first time in the event here in LA. You have Watkins Glen on Monday. You have, obviously, then you have Daytona and Kentucky the week after that. Before I let you go and let you get ready for what's going to be a very busy time for you, on top of you managing the Detour Series and ARCS on Wednesday evenings, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats on the effort, and hopefully get to talk to you a couple more times later on, but over the next 7 days.
That's the plan. First and foremost, like to thank everybody over in ARCS as well as you guys here in ABN for having us for another season of A Squared. Great place to be. There's a lot of different stuff going on. Draft is definitely spicy, and now it's a little kind of like HTL. It's where you're not guaranteed to start every single week, so definitely be a season to look forward to. Cody Setup Shop, Smil Racing Designs, Henderson Designs, teammates over at Tombstone Motorsports, not now, previously from Sunday Money. Family, friends, and fiance roots me on, and already got you guys, so guess we'll hopefully see you tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody.
Absolutely fantastic job. Brandon Proudfoot wins the 2024 A Squared Coliseum Clash here tonight in LA, with Watkins Glen in his direct view on Monday night, and then Daytona coming up here next Sunday. Brandon, enjoy it, and we'll be talking to you hopefully again tomorrow.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
That was Proudfoot, the race winner here tonight. We'll move down the order once more. We'll talk to second place finisher. We'll talk to Josh Gaiman. Hear his thoughts once again. Another appearance in the Coliseum Clash. Josh, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
All right, new team. Same sort of vibe here. Podium finish here in LA to kick off the season. You're another one doing double duty. You're racing Watkins Glen tomorrow. Then you get to go and you get to do Daytona next Sunday for the duels. Walk us through tonight, though, and obviously how important this race was in terms of shaking off the rust and getting around this group of drivers again, because it is a completely different group than we see on Monday nights.
Yeah, I mean, it's, finally A Squared's back, really, is how I've been feeling. I had a lot of luck there last season. Not so much this season with HTL, just, getting bumped around or bumping myself around, really. So I'm glad to be back here with this group. I feel like, I don't know, maybe I just mesh better or something, something goes right. This track, it's a real rough track to try to get used to racing around anyone, really. But it was a lot of fun. It's good to be back with A Squared and running the season, and hopefully other places that I race, I'm racing almost every night of the week, hopefully they go better. But yeah.
Obviously, the Clash, not a points event by any stretch of the imagination, but just a good way to sort of kick off that rust. you talk about the luck you had last season. This seems to be a series where you shine a little bit better. What is the difference? Obviously, the same cars. We see the same cars Sunday and Monday evenings. What is so different between HTL, where obviously you're at this point you're just kind of finishing out the season, just trying to wait for that reset point on Mondays, and A Square Cup Series, where you're a consistent race-winning contender and a championship contender year in and year out. This is now year 3, and you're once again starting off strong.
Yeah, I don't know, because like a lot of the top guys in ARCS I know would compete really good in HTL, you know, and a lot of the guys at HTL would compete really good at ARCS. I think it's just different types of aggression, you know. It just sometimes it doesn't mesh with me, and then other weeks, you know, I'll show up at HTL and I'll be, you know, running in the podium the whole race or whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's, you know, just a Monday thing. I don't.
Well, if it is, hopefully the start of something great's happening here. Obviously, a second place finish tonight in the Coliseum Clash. A consistent force. You actually were one of the few that were able to move back forward after being shuffled backwards. So that was obviously a little bit fun to see, a little bit of fun challenge there. Going into, obviously, the next week, you have Watkins Glen, you have Daytona, and then Kentucky and Daytona. It's going to be a wild back and forth trip there. Before we let you get ready for all of that, though, if there's anyone to shout out and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats on the effort. Second place here in LA with Daytona up next.
Yeah, it's absolutely always good to move back forward. I'll thank Emma for bringing me on with Gear Cats. You know, hopefully we can really push forward and have the whole team up front. You know, it was just me and Michael tonight, with Lily still healing up, and Emma just having a lot going on tonight. So hopefully it'll, you know, be a really good season for us. So definitely thanks to her for bringing me on. And, you know, Makoni Setup Shop, 213 Simware, W Energy for, you know, riding along for multiple years now. And hopefully do more moving forward. Thanks to all the ARCS guys. You know, Kent's putting in a lot of work this year, which is really cool to see. And, you know, you and everyone that puts these broadcasts on is always appreciated.
Absolutely a fantastic job for Car 61. Josh Gaiman, second place tonight in LA with a trip to Daytona coming up here in 7 days' time. We'll see him again on Monday as well. We'll see him tomorrow in Watkins Glen. It's back to the East Coast next week. Josh, enjoy it, and hopefully get to talk to you again tomorrow.
Absolutely.
That was Josh Gaiman, second place finisher here tonight. We got one more person to talk to, a former champion of the A Squared Cup Series. It is Jeremy Breo, third place tonight, after he came out and won this race a year ago. Jeremy, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Alrighty, that was a wild third place. Obviously, 4 spots gained for you. You started this race in 7th, made some spots, was able to put some elbows out. We saw a little bit of that in this race. Walk us through your race, and obviously how important it is getting back into rhythm here in LA before we move to Daytona next week.
Oh, well, it was a typical ARC short track race with the typical players that do what they do. So, I mean, it was just basically avoid the chuckleheads that like to dive into the corners and wreck everybody, but I couldn't avoid them on 2 occasions. But overall, it was a decent race for a quarter-mile track. So hopefully we don't come back here again ever for any race at all, unless it's a complete demolition derby race where we get points for hitting the most cars and having the most wrecks or whatever. But other than that, I mean, I love that we're racing again. I love that A Squared's back. I'm glad we're back, and can't wait for Daytona.
It brings up a very good question here. There's a lot of changes coming to the A Squared Cup Series this year. Obviously, we're at the Clash, but we're not following the full calendar now. It's 25 races, not 36. Now there's some liberties taken with the calendar and what it looks like. If not the Clash, where do you want to see the Clash at next season? What do you think is a good place to start off the season with a good non-points event?
I mean, you could throw it at a super speedway race, or you could throw it at a, I don't know, put it somewhere where I would guess maybe like a mile and a half that we don't run anymore. Somewhere like, I don't know, Chicago or something like that. Like something where we can't have 30 cautions in one race, and then it puts on a terrible race for the broadcast, and you have to sit there and explain like, oh, it's good racing, guys. We're sitting here wrecking every 10 seconds. You know, keep watching. But I just think this race has run its course, at least maybe not in real life, but maybe with us, where it's, I don't know. I don't know where we can justify 20 cautions in a 75 lap race.
It is difficult, that is for sure, and then especially in a car that is notoriously difficult on flat, short ovals, this can be difficult. But obviously something that can definitely be talked about, obviously, as the season progresses, a lot of changes for A squared. But one thing that's not changed is you are a front-running player here to kick off the season. A former champion, looking to try to become a two-time champion this year. Before we let you go and let you begin on that pursuit, though, if there's anyone to say thank you to or shout out at all, the floor is yours. Congrats. Welcome back to Sunday Racing. We're glad we're back here. And it's time to get to work.
Yeah, thank you. I want to thank everybody at ABN and you, Carmen, for putting on the broadcast. It's awesome that we get to do this again for a second or third year in a row. I don't know how long we've been doing this, but thank you again. And got to thank Smith Racing Designs and everybody on Beatron Racing. It's awesome that we have another, I think, a good team this year, and I think we can compete for the Owners Championship and the Drivers Championship. And congratulations to Proudfoot. He had it from the beginning, so good for him, and good racing game it again.
Absolutely, a lot of fun. A lot of the front-running players from last season back on track again here on Sundays. Jeremy Brea, third place finisher for Beatron Racing to kick things off. He'll be trying to qualify for the Daytona 250 on Sunday. Jeremy, enjoy it, and we'll be hopefully talking to you again next weekend.
All righty, see you then.
That was Jeremy Brea, the third place finisher here tonight. Obviously, he didn't mince his words on what he thought about some of the driving here tonight. Wasn't 20 cautions, it was 10 over 75 laps. And again, not an easy race, not a points event. Thankfully, everyone can kind of move on from this and get ready for the real challenge next Sunday, qualifying and the duels for the ARCS Daytona 250. The results on the side of your screen, that's the 20 cars, all of them in this main event. Brandon Proudfoot, Josh Gaiman, Jeremy Brea, top three over Daniel Michel, Pacey Wygant, Jonathan Adams, the top two rookies in the field here tonight. David Wright in seventh, Mike LaJoy in the top eight, Dale Markowski in ninth, and then Jacob Delgato in the top 10. Mark Dila, Connor Knowlton, top 12, Bren Roberts, Ross Baxter, Jacob Battles, Tommy Withers, Tom Sears, Elris George, Kevin Feemster, and Josh Garrison round out the 20 cars that were in tonight's main event. Action continues here on ABN1 and ABN2, our family of networks this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it is Watkins Glen all day, every day, those 3 days. HL Cup Series, 8 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow night, it's the HL Cup Series at Watkins Glen. HL Truck Series at Watkins Glen. Tuesday on ABN1, 8:15 p.m. Eastern, 5:15 p.m. Pacific. We'll be back again Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific for the ABN Champ Car World Series. We're back. The IRA team's back with us. A phenomenal race of Chicagoland. If you missed it, it's on our YouTube channel now. The season continues and runs through New York, through the Finger Lakes region in upstate New York. And then we're back again on Friday, the HL National Series from Kentucky on ABN Esports 1. ABN Esports 1, the place to be for sim racing, no matter where it is, no matter what it is, road courses, ovals, short tracks, anything that you can put on asphalt. We've basically got it at this point. In next season, and next month, just a few days away, is the Platinum Endurance Championship as it begins once again with the 6 hours of Daytona. So a lot of action this week between Watkins Glen and Kentucky, and then next Sunday we'll be back at Daytona for the A-Square Cup Series, qualifying for their Daytona 250. On behalf of everyone here for ARCS, for ABN Studios, for Qualitex Medical, Smear Racing Designs, Midwest Barbecue, and all of ARCS and ABN's partners, I'm Carmen Sienna. Thank you all so much for spending your Sunday evening with us here on ABN. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, have some fun. We'll see you tomorrow night in New York. Until next time, so long, everybody.